Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Hockey Talk with TG Podcast. I'm Ty Glenn. Hope you guys are having a great day. Apologies for not getting this episode out earlier, but my computer was lagging. But anyway, we are going to go ahead and get started. So, Leon Draisaitl, the birthday boy, or I should say happy belated birthday to him, considering that his birthday was yesterday. He scored 2 goals in the Oilers 3-2 overtime win over the Detroit Red Wings. One of them was the overtime game winner, so that gave him something to celebrate about. It took him 18 seconds in overtime to get that game-winning goal, so congrats, Leon Draisaitl. He also picked up an assist for a 3-point night right there. Connor McDavid and Matthias Ekholm also notched 2 assists. And Calvin Pickard made 24 saves for the Edmonton Oilers, who moved to 4-4-1 of the year. They are in action tonight against the Columbus Blue Jackets, so we'll see if they can sweep these back-to-back games. For Detroit, Andrew Kopp had a goal and an assist for the Red Wings. Patrick Kane notched 2 assists for the Red Wings. And Cam Talbot, the former Edmonton Oiler, made 31 saves for the Red Wings in the overtime loss, and they also are 4-4-1 of the year. Seems like most of these NHL teams so far are 4-4-1 a year. I kind of found that really interesting. But like I said, the Oilers are in action Monday against the Columbus Blue Jackets at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. The Red Wings play the Jets Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, and this will be the second game of a 3-game homestand for Detroit as well. Moving on to the Canadiens and Flyers. So Nick Suzuki, Brendan Gallagher each have a 2-point night in the Canadiens' 4-3 win over the Flyers. So the Flyers tried to spark something at the last minute, but unfortunately it wasn't enough for them to overcome the Habs. But Nick Suzuki and Brendan Gallagher each had a goal and an assist for that 2-point night. Cole Caulfield and Jake Evans scored for Montreal, who are now 4-4-1 of the season. Cole Caulfield had his 7th goal of the season, so I'm telling you guys, he is going to have a breakout year. But we'll just have to see if I'm right about that. But he should have a breakout year, though. Caden Primieux made 23 saves in the win, so Sam Montembeault has sat this game out. He did not start in yesterday's game against the Flyers, so it's Caden Primieux who takes in that, but he will most likely be in that Four Nations face-off event that is in February, so we'll see if that happens. For the Flyers, Travis Sanheim had 2 goals and assists in the loss for the Flyers. Travis Konechny also pitched in the goal for the Flyers, and Alexei Kozlov made 20 saves in his NHL debut, and the Flyers are 2-6-1 of the season. And Kolosov, hopefully I pronounced that last name right, he is the first Belarus-born goalie to play in the NHL. He was recalled from the Lehigh Valley Phantoms of the AHL Saturday, so he got to make his NHL debut yesterday against Montreal. The Flyers will be in Boston Tuesday to take on the Bruins at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, while the Canadiens head back home to take on the Kraken Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. All right, moving on to the Ducks and Devils game. So it was a rematch of the 2003 Stanley Cup Final, which featured the Devils winning 6-2 in this game, but 3-0 in that Game 7 2003 Stanley Cup Final, but Devils win 6-2 in this game right here. Stefan Noesen had a 2-goal game to spark that performance. Dougie Hamilton, Dawson Mercer, and Jonas Siegenthaler each had 2 assists in the win. So I'm telling you guys that Devils' offensive depth is clicking, even though, and so is the defense as well, because I said Dougie Hamilton and Jonas Siegenthaler as well. So that offensive defensive depth is cooking for the Devils. The Devils are 6-4-2 of the season, but that is really showing signs of helping them win most of their games. Jacob Markstrom made 24 saves for the Devils, so really great performance from Jacob Markstrom, considering that I have him on my fantasy hockey team. So the Devils, like I mentioned, are 6-4-2 the season. They were 0-2-2 in their past 4 games, so this was a much-needed win from New Jersey. They had 4 unanswered goals in the second period alone from Jack Hughes, Stefan Noesen, who had 2 in that second period, and Paul Cotter. And the Devils outshot the Ducks in this game 34-26, 16-7 in the first period for the Devils, 12-3 in the second period for the Devils, and then the Ducks will outshoot them in the third period, 16-6. But for Anaheim, Brock McGinn and Ryan Strome scored for the Ducks, and Ryan Strome also notched an assist in the loss. So Anaheim was entering this game in a back-to-back after their 3-1 loss to the New York Rangers Saturday. So they lose their back-to-back games against the Rangers and Devils. James Reimer made 28 saves for Anaheim, who is now 3-4-1 of the season. They continue their 4-game road trip against the Islanders Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, while the Devils start a 3-game Western Canada road trip against the Canucks Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. All right, now we're moving on to the Avalanche and Senators. So the Avalanche record their 5th straight win as they hold on for the 5-4 victory against the Senators. So the Avalanche, after starting off the season 0-4-0, they have now won 5 straight games. So they are really clicking despite the key injuries for their players. Casey Middlestat had a 3-point night, notched 3 assists for that 3-point night. And Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar, 2 superstar players for the Avalanche, both extended their point streaks to 9 games. So Nathan McKinnon had 2 points in the win, which he had 1 goal and 1 assist. He has 15 points of the season so far with 4 goals, 11 assists for 15 points of the season. He's tied for 3rd in the league. So, of course, Kirill Kaprizov, Artemi Panarin, and Jack Eichel also have 15 points. For Cale Makar, he had 1 assist in the win, 16 points of the season for him. So 3 goals, 13 assists for 16 points of the season. And he's 2nd in the league behind Mark Stone of the Vegas Golden Knights, who has 17 points. Ross Colton, goal scoring machine. I know that sounded weird for me to say it, but he notched his 8th goal of the season, and he currently leads the Avalanche in goals. Don't believe me? Look it up. He might get a goal in tonight's game against the Chicago Blackhawks, but hopefully not, because I'm hoping for the Blackhawks to win. But I know that's going to be impossible to do against a team like the Colorado Avalanche, who I've just been on a fire of late. Nikola Kolovenko scored his first NHL goal in the win, and Justice Anuin made 26 saves on 30 shots faced in his 4th straight start for the Avs, who are now 5-4-0 of the season. For the Senators side, Claude Giroux scored 2 goals in the loss. Nick Cousins and Brady Tkachuk each had a 2-point night, notching 1 goal and 1 assist. And Anton Forsberg made 25 saves on 29 shots faced in net for the Senators, who are now 4-4-0 of the season, and they have lost 2 straight games. The Avalanche are in action tonight, like I mentioned, against the Chicago Blackhawks, so they'll be playing at home. So back-to-back home games for the Avs. The Senators return home Tuesday to face the St. Louis Blues at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Now we know the biggest game of today will be Steven Stamkos' return to Tampa, because that'll be a game that everybody will watch, really, considering what he's done in his career with the Tampa Bay Lightning. This game will come on at 6:30 p.m. Central Time on Hulu and ESPN+. So, of course, Stammer is returning to Tampa after signing a 4-year, $32 million contract deal with the Nashville Predators on July 1st. He did play 16 seasons with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he was drafted 1st overall in that first round of the 2008 NHL Draft by the Lightning. He has 1,137 points in 1,082 games played with the Lightning. So 555 goals, 582 assists for 1,137 points in 1,082 games played with the Lightning. and he was named captain for them in 2014. He is a two-time Stanley Cup champion with the Lightning. Of course, he won in those back-to-back Stanley Cup years in 2020 and 2021. He holds the franchise record in goals with 555 goals and games played with 1,082 games played. So, of course, this will be an emotional return as he returns today, and it will be a memorial event for both him and the Tampa Bay Lightning fans, and of course, everybody in Tampa in general, whether you're a hockey fan or not. Steven Stamkos played 16 seasons with the Lightning, like I mentioned, and he is a franchise icon for the team. So, of course, it's going to be emotional. It's going to be a great game to watch, great tribute that they'll put on for Steven Stamkos, and just a warm recognition from the crowd as they can, this is what people can anticipate. Just a warm recognition from the crowd, great video tribute, and just the emotional game overall. However, the Lightning have been doing really great without Steven Stamkos, and I kind of regret saying that as well. So, but they do have Jake Guentzel on the team, and which is a high-profile replacement, and he's adjusting to the team, adjusting his role within the team. And the Lightning are now 5-3-0 of the season, and they're second place in the Atlantic Division with 10 points, and they're 13th in the league. So, really doing great so far without Stammer, but like I said, I do regret saying that as well. So I'm not trying to make any of you Tampa Bay Lightning fans feel upset or like guilty or like nothing or whatever emotion like you want to call it. But with the Nashville Predators, Steven Stamkos has 1 point in 8 games, which of course was that only goal that he scored. So not going off the way people would expect from Stammer, but that might be because of his age. He's not in his prime anymore, but he is playing on that second line left winger with Tommy Novak and Gustav Nyquist. His position is actually center, but they just have him as a left winger according to the Daily Faceoff website, playing with Tommy Novak and Gustav Nyquist. He is on that first power play unit with Philip Forsberg, Ryan O'Reilly, Jonathan Marchessault, and Roman Josi. So a great power play unit from Nashville overall, and I can't wait to see how this game is going to turn out for Steven Stamkos. Of course, I probably might be watching this game until the Blackhawks and Avalanche game come on at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. So, yeah. All right, NHL games on the slate for today. So, game number 1 will feature the Florida Panthers taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Second meeting of the season. These two teams did play. I think this was like the third game of the season for the Florida Panthers and the fourth game of the season for the Sabres, because the Sabres, they had those back-to-back games in Prague, and then they had the home opener against Los Angeles. And so I think they played Florida next. For the Panthers, they had their home opener against Boston. Then they played Ottawa, and then I think they played Buffalo following that. Alexander Barkov is back in the lineup for the Florida Panthers. He did not play. He hasn't played since October 10th, which was a 3-1 loss to the Ottawa Senators. He was slammed into the boards in that game as well, so he had to leave the game with an upper body injury. Moving on to the Oilers and Blue Jackets. So the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets at 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. This is the second game of a back-to-back for the Edmonton Oilers, so they are looking to sweep both of those games right there. Predators, Lightning. Of course, this will come on at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. This will air on Hulu and ESPN+. And, of course, this will be Steven Stamkos' return to Tampa. I know all hockey fans are going to be watching this game, not just Predators and Lightning fans, but just, hockey fans in general, since this is going to be an emotional game for Steven Stamkos and just an emotional game in general to watch. And then the Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Winnipeg Jets at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Of course, the Jets are now 8-0-0 of the season following their, I think, was a 5-2 win over the Calgary Flames Saturday night. So, and then they play Detroit Wednesday, so they could be the first team in a while, I believe, to go 10-0-0 the season if they win this game tonight and then win the game against the Red Wings Wednesday night. But we would just have to see how the Jets do against Craig Berube's Toronto Maple Leafs. And then the Chicago Blackhawks taking on the Colorado Avalanche. That will come on at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. This is the second game of a back-to-back for the Colorado Avalanche. And they have been on fire of late, winning 5 games in a row after starting off the season 0-4-0. Of course, Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar look to extend the point streaks tonight. And the Avalanche will look for its 6th win of the season. While the Chicago Blackhawks, they still have Peter Mrazek in there. He did start in that last game against the Dallas Stars, which was a 4-2 loss to the Stars. But I doubt that the Blackhawks will pick up a win over the Colorado Avalanche, but we will just have to see what this game holds. And then the San Jose Sharks will be taking on Utah Hockey Club at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Of course, Utah Hockey Club is coming off of a 3-2 loss to the LA Kings Saturday. The Sharks are still winless this season, so they are searching for their first win tonight against Utah Hockey Club. They're still without Macklin Celebrini as well. So, of course, like I said, they will hope to get their win tonight heading into tomorrow's game, because this is the first of a back-to-back for the Sharks. They do play tomorrow against the Kings, so they look to sweep both of these games against Utah and against LA. And then Carolina is in action today against the Vancouver Canucks. So Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Vancouver Canucks at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Both of these teams are coming off of wins. Of course, the Hurricanes won 4-1 against the Kraken Saturday, and then the Penguins, I believe, won. I mean, not the Penguins. The Canucks won. I think the score was 4-3, the final in Saturday's game against the Penguins. So both of these teams look to add on from that performance. And then the Calgary Flames taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. That will be the final game of the night as well, because both the Hurricanes, Canucks, Flames, Golden Knights game comes on at 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. So, of course, the Flames are coming off of their 5-2 loss to the Winnipeg Jets. Golden Knights are coming off of a wild 7-3 win over the San Jose Sharks. Of course, William Karlsson is back in the lineup for the VGK, so he looks to add on his point total as well. So, can't wait to see what happens in that game. All right, guys, so that is going to do it for this episode. So thank you guys for tuning in. Again, apologies for getting this episode out late. You guys know this podcast comes out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11:30 a.m. to noon Central Time. So, do apologize for getting it out late. But hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. God first as always. Be blessed. And I'll see you guys Wednesday for another episode of the Hockey Talk with TG podcast. Take care.